You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yet you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
This is a Journo Rat Felting emergency appeal. Every day, video game journalists like Alyssa Mercante are suffering from a mind virus called YouTuber derangement syndrome. The symptoms include intense narcissism, smugness, bizarrely inflated sense of self-importance, and above all else, an obsession with how much money YouTubers make. Particularly when they make that money covering journalists with this affliction. A little money can make all the difference to curing this terrible affliction, so please, donate anything you can, $2, $5, channel memberships, a $50 super sticker, to your nearest YouTuber. And help the spying, snitching, journo trash learn once and for all that they are irrelevant maniacs who you wouldn't piss on if they were on fire. Thank you.
Power of one, the power of two, the power of...
Down to Papa Roach, bleed 182!
The power of one, the power of two, the power of...
Victimizers beware, the racist and bigots' greatest nightmare. Social justice warriors! Get triggered! It's the bias response team! If you've been offended, your feelings must be defended. Go! Freedom of expression is a microaggression. Here comes Angela Freddy. He's always ready to fight fascism with fascism. Starbucks windows don't stand a chance. Ethic enhancer. He's a systematic racism finder. Using the powers of screaming and shame, they win every debate by calling your name. They're heroes who think that they're victims. Social justice warriors. Get triggered.
Every single person of, that's intelligent, hardworking, ambitious, had dreams and goals, has abandoned England in the last 200 years.
Holy crap! Holy crap!
Engines roar through the ash-gray skies. The wasteland burns, but hope won't die. Every screen's a twisted lie, built to break us, make us comply. They poison the heroes, rewrite the tales. Turn legends to dust, leave us frail. But we're not done, we won't bow down. Through the wreckage, we'll take the crown. Steel hearts ignite, fire in our veins. Freedom's calling, breaking the chains. They can't erase what we already know. HyperDrive now.
Wow. Okay. Wasn't expecting that. Hello. And ladies and gentlemen, and of course, nothing in between. Welcome once again to another voyage of discovery, racing through the wastes of the internet to the further reaches of sanity on a never ending, because it really will never end, will it? Quest to rid the universe of absolute bollocks. That's right. Before we set off, please ensure that your brains are kept inside the vehicle at all times with your eyeballs firmly screwed to the screen. Now let's see who's along for the ride today and what a start we have, as you can probably already tell from just looking down here. But of course, who's here already? Well, Derek Smith, true to himself and on form as ever, pre-like the stream, which is always helpful because it reminds me to remind you that if you are liking the stream,
Like the stream.
that's right, like the stream, share the stream, call your friends, tell them we're here, tell them it on Twitter, tell them on everything to tune in right now and enjoy themselves, because here we are. It is, of course, HyperDrive time. It's time to talk some serious shit about some serious shit and some not so serious shit. So there you go. And of course, like I said, if you're liking the stream, please like the stream. It helps to pick up some lost souls along the way, such as, who else is here? Let's have a look. Sardoc Spamfish says hi, everyone, and hello to you too. Warmaniac is here. Goonin. Wow. Don't climax too early. We have a lot of time to get through. And I know I'm an hour later than I said I would be, but it's just that it's a little hard to, dare I say, transition to 1 hour earlier when you have a small baby who refuses to go to sleep. So from tomorrow, I will be adjusting the time, the schedule to fit with what's happening with daylight savings time and everything in the US. But today we're going to be 1 hour later, which means a little bit of overlap, unfortunately, with Hypnocast, which probably will make me suffer a little bit, but that's absolutely fine for today. I don't mind. Anyway, if you're here just gooning, please, you know, I'm not worth it, but thanks anyway. Weston Hudson, this one is new and I fucking love it. Really? Well, there you go. We got War Maniac 209 saying a word I cannot say. And then Please, Snape was Kang's no lie. Yes, this is becoming a much bigger story than I thought it was going to be. So I am going to cover a little bit more of it, because it does seem that there's very few people out there who are actually willing to defend this. And that's absolutely fine, because there's nothing you can defend about it. And it's an opportunity actually to kind of reset the barometer for what is and is not woke, because it seems there are still some clowns out there who are confused about this. So we may have to repeat ourselves a bit, but oh well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Lol, no Google not giving you my name says, love the intro. Thank you. It's I appreciate when people get into that, because everyone's always talking about the money video, which is great, but it was significantly less work than that intro was. So I appreciate that. Who else we got? Vet Gamer Pacificus is here already. Says sup and sup to you. Thank you very much for being here. Rio is here as well. Even James Up and Sardoc Spamfish. We'll get to you in a second, James Up. Thank you very much. The Elemental Hero, the Shadow Link I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be longer than that. Dragon Wolf King says hi. And St. Hugo is here. Kira's here. Hello, Kira. I saw you playing Suikoden in the middle of the night, my time, on Steam, as I was actually also playing Suikoden as well. Everybody, I'm slowly but surely, I'm selling Suikoden to everybody. No profit to myself, except that I get to play it as well, and we're all having a great time with it. So I'm glad to do my bit to raise awareness about a little game that no one thought would ever come back to prominence, but has, because sometimes dreams do come true. What a wonderful time. Nathan Moon is here as well. Hello, IR here. You indeed are. Appreciate that. Poopa Chalupa's here. Hello to you as well. Wow, we're more people than usual at the start of the show. So, guys, I appreciate you being here. Like I said, we're a little off schedule. It's supposed to be 1 hour earlier, but I just couldn't swing it. I didn't get to sleep until way too late. So we're going at the time, my time, as it used to be, but then I will be adjusting from tomorrow onwards. Now, down to brass tacks. We got a thing we need to acknowledge right out of the gate. I set the bar, as always, guys. $50 is the goal for the stream, for at least what will maybe one day be called tier 1, but for now is all I ask. And it allows me to do a gaming stream for you guys. And James Up just walks in, slams down the money, doesn't make use of the character limit really at all, and says hit the like. So once again,
Like the stream.
Oh, these? My boobies? My massive fucking titties? My super stuffed up milkies? My hunger bonger doinky boinkies? My fucking fabric stretching, wind flapping, gravity welling sex mounds? You mean these super duper ultra hyper goddamn motherfucking
money, print money, cash, money, well, capitalism, raise a bunch of money, more money, heaps and heaps of money, print money, cash, money, well, capitalism, raise a bunch of money, super chat money.
As salty as the sea, calling us no code names. SJW screaming, but it's money they blame. Burning with envy, they're falling flat. They can't handle the sound of a super chat.
just all the sounds, all the clips, all for you, James Up. Thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate you just dropping 50 just like that. And then apparently saying literally nothing else in the chat. What a fucking legend. Absolute massive love. I, of course, now will be streaming Suikoden in a few hours after this stream ends. So stick around for that as well. And yeah, just as Poopa Chalupa pointed out, profit break. Amazing. Well, there you go. It looks like we're going to have a little bit of relaxing fun today. And I mean, I normally would point out that if you have something you'd like me to say, questions, comments, or you just want to pull over for a bit and take a break, don't forget to tip your driver. But, well, somebody already did. So, but don't let that stop you if you're feeling generous. With all of that said, of course, we have other things as well. You can hit the join button, get your in-flight entertainment in the form of the emojis, and of course, everything else that comes from joining the channel. But let's get on to a topic, because it is already 11 minutes in and we haven't reported anything yet. Shout out to John Richards in the chat, problematic white guy. By the way, did you already have your chat, John, with Master of the TDS? Because I'd be interested to see the results of that. There's a lot going on at the moment, guys. We are looking heavily with a very scrutinizing eye into GDC, as we should, because GDC is basically boot camp for the woke, and or reboot camp, if you like. So I'll be curious to see what comes of that. Not yet? Okay, right. Well, when you do. In the meantime, we'll be continuing to look at that, and I think everybody else should be as well, because it does seem like that is one of the major places where a lot of this insane zealotry and woke-tard nonsense comes from. But before that, we have some other particular woke-tard nonsense to get to, so let's have a look as we begin with a look at the Snape situation, because this has turned into a much bigger story than I thought it would. I mean, I don't really know why I'm surprised, because it is a beloved character from a beloved franchise. I just didn't think that many people cared about the Harry Potter series. But it turns out they do, which is fantastic, because Harry Potter is a great franchise with a lot of lore, and obviously it's a work of literature. So that means it is timeless, pretty much will be in the zeitgeist forever. And a little bit harder to destroy with wokeness, but damn it, they're going to try. Because, you know, while, and this is the thing, this is, make no mistake, this is woke. This is fucking woke. Okay, there's no other reason ever that you do a race swap. There's no other reason to take something away from one group and give it to another group, even though it doesn't make any sense, even though this character has to spend 80% of the story as a bad guy. But, you know, we'll get into all that. We'll get into all that, because this is the most bizarre casting I think I've ever seen. Really. I've seen a lot of race swaps in my time, and I've seen a lot of gender swaps. I've seen a lot of girl bossing and various, other ways that they like to shit on straight white males. But I don't think I've ever seen anything quite as bizarre as this, because as I pointed out in WTF Live the other day and in my video about the subject, but it's still rinsing through my brain, trying to make sense of itself. How do you do this without screwing over your entire project? And I don't just mean because of the skin swap. What I mean is the implications of what you then have to do if you are indeed still somehow convinced yourself that you are committed to telling the accurate story. How do you fix this when you've cast the Half-Blood Prince of Bel-Air because the guy's like, he looks nothing like, he looks nothing like Alan Rickman, but also looks nothing like the description of Snape. We'll get into it, because as much as I cannot stand him, Paul Tassi is here to actually, I don't know. I haven't read the entire article yet. I like to be semi-blind when I read these things, because you get to see my honest, earnest reactions live. Yeah, where the White Witch is at. Exactly. You got it. So anyway, let's just get into the article, and I'll formulate my opinions as we go. Papa Essiedu, I don't know how you pronounce it, but that's how I've been pronouncing it, as Snape. I can't believe they really did it. Rumored for weeks ahead of time, by the way, as well. Months, in fact. Pretty sure it was last year that we first heard this. Nobody was on board with this. And if anybody was, they already abandoned Harry Potter anyway, because J.K. Rowling doesn't like trans people. So I don't know who the hell they think they're fucking pandering to here. But Papa Essiedu, or Essiedu, Papa Achu, as Snape sets off 5 different Harry Potter controversies. 5. Now that's interesting, because I really only count 2, but we'll see, I suppose. So, as I was alluding to, and as I've gone over in my stream and my video on the subject, there are 2 big problems that this begins, right? So, first of all, obviously you've got no remote connection to the actual description of Snape in the book. Okay, so you can't be coming at this from the perspective of, we're going to be book accurate. Tassie still has me blocked from my meme of him. Yeah, Tassie's a bitch. Tassie went after Star Wars Theory, who's like the nicest guy on the internet, except maybe Smash JT. And myself, of course. But there you go. No, but yeah, look, if you started the idea, HBO, of having a Harry Potter TV show, okay? And there's only one reason you would ever dare do that, because those movies, as inaccurate as they may be in places compared to the books, and as much as they had to remove from the books in order to tell their version of the story in an effective runtime, they are timeless classics. Okay, they are movies. My family members that I am married into have watched Harry Potter here. That they love it that much. They've never seen it before or heard of it before in the Philippines, but as soon as they get like 5 minutes of watching that, they're like, "What's this?" And they just want to know, like, "Wow, this is amazing." They've never seen anything like it. It speaks to children everywhere, all over the world. J.K. Rowling hit the mother lode with the Harry Potter idea, but they did cut out a lot of content. So then you're going to go ahead and you're going to say, okay, well, we're going to do a reboot, which is an ill-advised thing in the first place. Nobody looked at that and said, "Ooh, great idea." Everyone was like, "Wow, are you sure you want to go against the movies? Really?" Because, you just look at even just like the casting of the Harry Potter movies. You've got just names like elite tier British actors left, right, and center in these movies. Between, Richard Harris and Maggie Smith and Robbie Coltrane and various other people like that. You've got all kinds of people. And eventually you had Michael Gambon, you've got John Hurt, you've got Warwick Davis, you've got all these people, just so many actors that everybody has seen and everybody knows. And if they didn't know them before, they definitely knew them from Harry Potter. And of course, Alan Rickman playing Snape, which I think a lot of us looked at and thought, really? The Die Hard guy? All right. But it worked because for some reason, even though he looked way too old to be playing Snape and definitely too old to have that black hair, people bought into it. You just buy into it because the performances are freaking excellent. So you already are competing with that when you want to do a Harry Potter series. So the only thing they could possibly have lent on as a justification for doing this project in the first place would be, we have more time. We'll have more hours. You got 7, 8 movies. So that's what, 16 hours, a little bit more than 16 hours. It's about 17 or 18 hours altogether. But that is effectively only 18 episodes of a TV show to tell 7 years of storytelling. You can do a lot more with TV. I think everybody knows that. You can slow down, it gets more breathing room, and that means you can put back in all the stuff that had to be cut out of the movie. So they went with, well, we're going to be super accurate to the books. And then they did this, which literally makes no sense whatsoever. Like none, literally none. And it's the second confirmed casting. So the first one, of course, was John Lithgow, or John Lithgow, depending on where you live in the world, who's an excellent actor, fantastic actor. And he was in like those Bigfoot movies from like years ago. Then, of course, he was in Third Rock from the Sun, playing Dick Solomon. So, you know he can do funny. We know he can do horror too. We saw him in Dexter. He was terrifying in Dexter. So you've got a great actor there who unfortunately is also 79 years old and American. And J.K. Rowling in the original movies was very strict about only casting British actors to perform these roles. Now, I mean, I know half of Hollywood is British actors these days, so there's that. But, you know, you want to go British as often as you can when the franchise is British. I mean, by woke standards, that's what they should be doing, right? Because you can't cast someone unless they are, in fact, the very thing that you are casting for. That's the woke standard. But then, of course, that rule goes completely out the window when it comes to race swapping someone. So anyway, as you can no doubt tell from the various thumbnails and AI designs I've done, this guy does not fit the description of Severus Snape. As it points out, he is supposed to be far from traditionally attractive. And Edu, according to Paul Tassi, star of Gangs of London and I May Destroy You, is certainly conventionally attractive. Yeah, I mean, he looks like, all of the other most sort of famous black actors. He has that type, handsome black dude. Whereas there's, a different standard for like handsome white dude, or a different standard for beautiful women, or handsome Asian actors. There's different standards everywhere. So yeah, he is what you would call conventionally attractive. It almost feels like they forced him to wear loads of makeup or even prosthetics to fit this role, which seems somewhat baffling. I mean, are they going to whiten his skin? Because of course we know from the fact that it is a book first and a movie and TV franchise after, that Severus Snape is supposed to be quite ugly and very, very pale, incredibly pale. His skin is described as sallow, which means unhealthy and kind of almost yellowish, like sickly, whitish, unhealthy, yellowish, or very pale, basically. So I don't know how they're going to do that with this dude. They need to turn the saturation down on his face. But anyway, in addition to his looks, Severus Snape is also described as a thin man with sallow skin, a large hooked nose, and yellow uneven teeth. He has shoulder-length, greasy black hair, which frames his face, and cold black eyes. So apart from the eyes, I think they've pretty much got everything there wrong. No, he doesn't have a broccoli nose, no. Is that a thing? Was I just racist there by accident? Because I've never heard that term before. Obviously, Esiedu is black. Really? You don't say. While being black or white may not be inherent to Snape's character, Potter fans note that this will set up situations like James Potter bullying a young black kid in the 70s, which is certainly not good optics. Well, I mean, who can say? Because there's another problem here. You are talking about a portion of the story where you find out the backstory of Severus Snape, which happens at the 11th hour in the Harry Potter books and the series, especially in the movies. It's like right before the final confrontation that you find out why Snape is such a bastard. But the optics are going to be very strange because, yeah, you are going to have a big problem here when you have to have this guy acting as the de facto antagonist for most of the story until he's, because Potter and Hermione and Ron are pretty biased. You know, they get one look at this hook-nosed, sallow-skinned, greasy, ugly man, and that does not mean Alan Rickman, but the book description, and kind of automatically assumes that he's pure evil. So if you do that in the TV series and the guy is black, well, you're just setting yourself up to say that Harry Potter and Hermione and Ron are racist, which I mean, it is one way they could go with it. They probably will now. They'll try to make him a victim the entire time. Doesn't make any sense, but there you go. Because, you know, you are supposed to receive Snape as, even though he does actually help Potter more often than not, and their children's mentality of him makes him the bad guy, he is kind of a bastard. You know, even though he's not an evildoer per se. I mean, of course, he does kill Dumbledore, so there's that. And by the way, spoilers for a 20-year-old series of books and movies. So, you know, if you haven't seen them or read them, then there you go. But yeah, so the other problem is when you do get to the end, you're going to have James Potter bullying a young black kid in the 70s, which are not good optics, but actually would, you know, kind of make more sense. Totally change the dynamics of the James Lily Snape storyline. That is, of course, also leading to culture war issues. Wow, Tessie, paying attention, are you? That's interesting. 1 second, folks. Potter fans, or even non-Potter fans that just want to latch onto this, are very much using this as another example of DEI, the latest country-spanning buzzword. Are you fucking joking, sir? DEI is not something that anyone made up as a buzzword, okay? It is a literal initiative, a literal department name from various creative and financial and business industries and government industries. You got to get it in there, haven't you, though, you fucking social justice warrior? You got to undermine it. I never understand that. Why do they try to do this? Like, are there that many normies now who still don't know the words DEI, like the letters DEI, what they mean, what they actually mean in practice, various things like that? Strange. That in this case involves race swapping the character, a practice often bemoaned by this group in Hollywood. Group? What group? Potter fans and non-Potter fans, so everybody. Look, at the end of the day, DEI is the biggest reason that Hollywood is dying. It's the biggest reason that is imploding in upon itself. And besides which, this makes less sense than Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor. I can't believe I have to say that, because I'm pretty sure you guys know the history I've had on this channel with Doctor Who and Ncuti Gatwa. But at least the Doctor regenerates. And even though no one likes it very much, it's not that hard to believe that, a Time Lord would be able to regenerate into different races, theoretically. It's more believable than, say, regenerating into the opposite sex. But that's not the case here. This character is in one body. Right? This is the character. This is as close as anyone's ever got to a physical version of what is described in the books. And this guy is the binary opposite. James up for $5. My God, man, you still going? All right. James and crew started school in the 60s. Harry was in the 90s. Yes. Yeah, as I think most people are aware at this point, the Harry Potter books themselves and films take place in the 1990s, which absolutely makes sense because that's the era where J.K. Rowling conceived the character and began writing the first book. So yeah, absolutely makes sense. Plus, also it allows you to get away with no mobile phones and things like that, which is good because the whole books would change if Harry and Ron and Hermione had iPhones. So anyway, getting on. It's bad enough that, you know, you are going to have to crowbar this guy into a role and a character that looks nothing like him. It's then worse that you're going to end up having theoretically scenes where he's being bullied and then scenes where he's doing evil acts or malicious acts anyway, spiteful acts. And of course, how then are you also going to promote your DEI? Because everybody knows that DEI doesn't actually mean anything to do with equality. It's about promotion of anything that isn't straight, isn't white, isn't male. Which one did I not mention now? Anyway, so it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And it's political, of course, as well, because as I've pointed out in various arguments against various morons who think that black and gay means, or female means woke, it doesn't, unless it's an agenda against civilization, effectively, against society, against traditional society, cultural Marxism, which this absolutely is, because there is no other explanation for why you would do this, why you would cast this guy as Severus Snape. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And while there are some progressives happy, according to Tassie, with the attempt at diversity, something the original story lacked. No, Paul, you fucking moron. All right. The original story did not lack diversity. Okay. I went to school in the 90s in England, and there was about one black kid or non-white kid for every, I don't know, 50 to 100 white kids. Okay. It's probably very different now. And I didn't go to like a boarding school or anything like that. I went to a standard normal kid school. And so there you go. So it, and furthermore, this is a very important word here. Lacked diversity. Lacked inherently has a negative connotation to it. If you lack something, it means that you would be better if you had it. This, of course, is not the case. So there you go. Didn't James hang Snape upside down in a tree? Yes. Although, of course, you do realize when they put that on screen and have Black Snape, it'll be a noose. Of course it will. It'll be a lynching. Anyway, you were in Brighton, felt like 1 in 50 there as a white person. Yeah, I know. Brighton's the cosmopolitan progressive center of the UK. It's used to be a nice town. Used to be. Then it became high on its own farts. Fart smelling of baby powder and lube. Anyway, others have noticed this feels more like a corporation trying to placate more liberal fans who are upset with J.K. Rowling's now long history speaking against transgender issues. I spoke to a friend of mine yesterday about this story because she's actually the one who got me into Harry Potter. And I said to her, so, you know, have you seen Black Snape? Ha, 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 ha. She's like, yeah, I'm probably not going to watch that anyway. I was like, oh, God, you're not another one of those people who suddenly decided that you don't like Harry Potter because J.K. Rowling is anti-trans. She's like, no. I mean, that shit doesn't make sense anyway. I mean, how are you going to do this, like having men in women's bathrooms, etc.? I was like, yeah, right. So common sense prevails no matter what. I mean, J.K. Rowling isn't doing anything controversial here at all by saying that you shouldn't have men in women's toilets. You shouldn't have men competing in women's sports. These things are fucking obvious to any small child. Any boy who's ever had like a fight with a girl in a playground is going to know that was the easiest fight he ever had. Anyway, outside of this casting, their relationship with this series has had a huge dynamic since the original books and movies. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but there are a whole bunch of libtards out there who genuinely hate J.K. Rowling, and they're not going to watch this anyway. So why are you trying to bring them back by if that's the case, then you are just paying lip service. And that makes this even more of a diversity hire, even more of an unjust, unearned, you know, thumb on the scale hiring. The other thing that I don't think anyone's actually mentioned, and I mean, even Tassie hasn't mentioned, is what happens in, say, 8 to 10 years, if this series goes the distance, which it could. I mean, it's Harry Potter. So far, it's just a money printing machine. Ultimately, you are going to be 10 years down the line by the time it comes to revealing the Snape backstory, if again you are intending to follow the actual story. If you are intending to tell the story in the way that it was written, in the way that it was supposed to be delivered to audiences, then you are not going to be revealing a lot about Snape straight away. You're just not. Which means you're going to be several years down the line, especially if you are trying to crowbar in every single page from the books, before anyone gets to be sympathetic towards Snape. And even worse, that's more years for the rest of culture to move away from DEI, which clearly is happening. So by the time you get around to making him a sympathetic character, there's a good chance no one's watching anyway because you put a black Snape in it. I think even the normies now are galvanized, such as we are, to say DEI is bullshit. I don't want to watch anything with DEI in it. We're seeing this. I mean, everything is suffering right now. No one's watching Doctor Who. And a significant portion of the Doctor Who fandom, as I've discovered from being on this side of it, are still very much brainwashed leftists who like to say Doctor Who is always woke. No, it was always liberal. Woke and liberal are very different things, man. They're basically oil and water. Wokeness in 10 years, if everything goes the way it should, will be on the fucking back foot in a way, like it'll be almost completely out of culture. Hopefully. That's what we want. Which means by that point, people will just be scratching their heads at this. So, in other words, what I'm saying is the show is fucked. It's cooked. It's completely cooked. Because how else can you possibly justify any of this in several years? There's no way out of this. You have got binary ideas here. You've got loyalty to the books and completely changing a character's appearance. They cannot mix. There's no Venn diagram here. They are mutually exclusive. So you have screwed yourself completely and totally screwed yourself here. And I just don't know how you could be so boneheaded. You get given the rights to the golden goose of franchises, something that has not yet really been ruined. I know they had a Black Hermione and blah, 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 blah in the stage play, but that no one cares about fucking stage play. So you basically, going from the books, you've got a money printing machine, you've got the license to use it, and you immediately break that machine or cut off your own fingers so you can't use it. Hilariously stupid. Baffling, in fact. Anyway, there you go. Like Paul Tassi apparently agrees with me, this feels like a no-win for WB. His appearance as of now is not close to book accurate. Many conservatives will lament the change of character's race. I'm just scratching my head at it, man. We're well past lamenting this shit at this point. We are very, very good at saying, right, well, I'm out. And then just ignoring something we used to love. We've become trained at it by people like you. So there you go. Anyway, many progressives already have given up Harry Potter fandom based on Rowling, and this won't change their minds. Yes, but again, you're still missing the point, which is that your side of this culture war is losing. Badly. Getting destroyed left, right, and center as each country slowly but surely pivots back towards conservatism. In the face of what has happened in the last 10 years, everyone's gone, whoa, no, I didn't sign on for this. That's why Trump is president. That's why everyone hates Keir Starmer. It's why countries in Europe are going conservative again, going far right, if you like, which just means center right. But is this all enough to push away mainstream audiences? Well, that remains to be seen. Ultimately, I believe no, it won't. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they'll stick around, buddy. 2 or 3 episodes, they'll be out. Just like with Doctor Who. But there's no doubt going to be more casting controversies to follow. It seems exceedingly likely Hermione will be black, and that time the focus will be on a child actor. It's going to be a long 10 years. Yeah, exactly. So Spabalot's got it right. Hasn't even watched Fantastic Beasts, neither have I. Wasn't remotely interested. I mean, I wasn't interested in the first place. And then, of course, they made Dumbledore gay and made it about that. And as soon as that, I mean, I didn't watch it because I heard that first. Oh, right. Well, I'm out. Normies will be the same. They'll be like, what the fuck? Imagine if you're a normie and you've not read any of this and you don't know about any of this. It's going to be the same thing that happens if anyone's dumb enough to go see Snow White. They're going to be like, what the fuck is this? What does this have to do with the thing that I thought I was paying to see? Literally nothing at the end of the day. Which will be no different than, say, when we went to see The Last Jedi. And based on the trailers, it looked like it was going to be interesting. Perhaps a little bit of a cross section of the characters explored, which, you know, I thought even from the trailer might be a little hard to do in a Star Wars movie. Then it was all that and destroyed every character in it. People walked out, tried to justify it, but ultimately, as years have rolled on, people have just come around to admitting that, yeah, that movie was trash. It was the death of Star Wars. Just like Ncuti Gatwa and Jodie Whittaker were the death of Doctor Who. Just like Star Trek Discovery was the death of Star Trek. So there you go. You fucked it. You've shot yourself in the foot right away. Just amazing stupidity. Baffling. That's the only word I can come up with, really. But there you go. It's going to be really interesting to watch this one, I guess. Every now and then they like to come along and they like to give all of us reactionary rage bait, far right Yahtzees, some new fodder, you know, just something we could dine out on for potentially years. So I guess we'll find out. Starting to feel like the show will be cancelled after 2 seasons, though. It will definitely get a series 2 because it's Harry Potter. They'll probably have already paid for that. So it'll be very much like Velma or Rings of Power. Don't see it getting a 3rd series, though. Not if it goes this way. Because no one will be watching anyway. They'll just be pumping out episodes to fulfill their, you know, pledge, their investment. And that'll be the end of it. It'll be done. A failed Harry Potter project. And then thus is the franchise no longer the safest bet there is in fantasy and sci-fi and blah blah franchises. Big shame. Stupid. Thoroughly stupid. Very difficult to really wrap your head around, actually, how people can be that dumb. I mean, if you gave me Harry Potter as a franchise to work with, I'd be like, right, let's reread the books, very slowly and very accurately adapt them, and then cast, you know, entirely white people, because they're all white people in the books, apart from Dean Thomas, who I'm pretty sure was a retcon anyway. So there you go. There was your appropriate amount of diversity for a school in the 1990s in England. Enough said. All right, moving on then. We have another thing to talk about. I've been meaning to get to this for a day or so, but I didn't get a lot of time. Smash JT covered it. And that, of course, is the Ubisoft situation, because, I mean, this company just cannot catch a break. This company is so cooked. It is unbelievable, actually. I mean, this company, I say it all the time. Maybe it's getting boring, and maybe I need to retire it, but I feel like it's necessary for a frame of reference. A year and 2 months, 14 months ago, Ubisoft was out there with their chest puffed out, arrogantly declaring that gamers needed to get comfortable not owning their games. They were so confident. They're at the top of their game. They're so arrogant that they really believe that they could tell you, the paying customer, what you are paying for and what you should expect as a result of paying for something. And from that moment on, they were on the back foot. A lot of people just checked out of Ubisoft right there and then. I know I did. Then, of course, you've got massive tentpole releases that went straight down the drain. Skull and Bones, Star Wars Outlaws, having to move Assassin's Creed to this month, apparently. I don't think they can do anything about it now. There's not going to be any more delaying that game when the leaks have already come out. But hey, there you go. And, well, now it gets even worse because, of course, Ubisoft, as we saw from Madam Savvy's deep dive into the origins of Sweet Baby Inc., Ubisoft has been pumping out social justice warriors for a decade and change. It does appear that they have been at very much the epicenter of the pre-real culture war installation of wokeness into absolutely everything. So now it turns out that they themselves, and this is always the case, by the way, let's not forget, progressive Hollywood is a response to Hollywood the way it was, you know, with all of the Weinsteining that went on and things like that, casting couches and etc., etc., etc. There's always the people who make the most noise are always the ones with the most to hide. And Ubisoft apparently is no different. Smash JT has it that Ubisoft lawsuit exposes years of sexual harassment. Oh, the irony. I have to be a little careful with what I read out here. So, Ubisoft, once considered a titan in the gaming industry long ago, I know, but stay with me here, is now facing quite the reckoning with a scandal that has allegedly festered for years behind the scenes. On March 10th to 14th, 2025, 3 former senior executives, Serge, Hasco, I don't know, Thomas Tommy Francois, and Guillaume Patreux will all come together and stand trial in the Bobigny Criminal Court, accused of systemic sexual and moral harassment that permeated through the French gaming giant. Uh-oh. The irony of how a moral, grandstanding company like Ubisoft always seems to be the one projecting their own internal insecurities on society is not lost to Smash JT. 5 executives were arrested. Arrested. You don't get arrested because of a lawsuit. You get arrested for committing crimes. Oof. 5 former Ubisoft executives, this is the tweet, including Serge Hasco, I'm just going to call him that, and Tommy Francois have been arrested following a year-long investigation into claims of sexual assault and harassment. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. The case, which first erupted back in 2020, uh-oh. You mean right in the middle of peak DEI, peak wokeness, BLM riots, George Floyd, and masks and lockdowns, and that's when this happened, when this began, following a wave of anonymous testimonies on Twitter, has now been brought to light through investigative reports by Libération and Numérama. Okay. Oops. Well, I mean, there's your, you know, aging French existentialist, you silly English executive. The initial fallout was almost immediate, with Hasco, I don't know, Ubisoft's former creative director and number 2 in command resigning, with Francois and Patreux were dismissed for serious misconduct. Now, fast forward to the years after the alleged toxic workplace behavior, they'll now finally be forced to answer for their actions in court. They're going to jail. They're going to jail. Simple. I mean, 5 years of investigation and now you're hauling them in. Yeah, I think this is dead to rights. Usually is in these sort of situations, but we'll continue. A culture of abuse and humiliation. Shit, this is dark. The allegations against Francois, who served as Ubisoft's vice president of editorial, are particularly disturbing. Testimonies from the plaintiffs paint quite the horrifying picture of the workplace environment he fostered. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. His behavior had reportedly included publicly playing, you know, adult movies at full volume, forcing surprise kisses on employees, and degrading colleagues with insults such as bitch, ugly, and slut. Well, I mean, there's 2 sides to every story, but I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. One incident even described him coercing a newly hired employee into doing a handstand in an open office while wearing a skirt. Oh my God. What the fuck? Damn. A new employee too. Oh, dude. What the hell are you doing? What?
What the fuck?
Oh no. That's awful. God damn, that is terrible. That's like, it's weird to say, but that's almost more sinister. Because that's just there to degrade people in front of everybody. In another, oh no, he allegedly tied an employee to a chair. Holy shit. Placed her in an elevator and sent her to another floor. Actions that sound more like fraternity hazing than professional conduct. But no, this was at Ubisoft's offices. Wow. I mean, there's no situation where you can justify tying an employee to their chair, pushing them in an elevator, and then sending them to another floor. But just even the first part is like, there's no way that's in the employee manual. This fucking guy? No, that's Haskell. I don't fucking know. So that's the other guy. That's Francois who did this. Is that him? Woof. Is he wearing a Totoro t-shirt? Fuck's sake. Most disturbingly, wait, there's a video. There's a video.
Thank you, Martin. Hello, everyone. My name is Tommy Francois. I'm a VP at editorial at Ubisoft. So what does that mean? My dad never understood my job. Video.
Oh, yeah, he looks like a creeper. Only true scumbags wear hats like that. Maybe. Hopefully I'm not insulting anyone in the audience. Okay, so you're wearing a Totoro t-shirt and a brightly colored, I don't even know, like backward trilby or something. This guy, all right. And this is the guy who ties women to chairs.
One of the things we were able to do is we were able to secure a training session with the Garrus. The Garrus are an elite unit in the Bolivian army who fight.
No one cares, buddy. No one cares. You tied a woman to a chair. Excuse me. I've got hiccups. Hang on a second, folks. Yeah, what the fuck are you listening to, Spamfish? I know, right? I know. Sorry I'm having to report this, but I mean, you can't not report it. It has to be out there. I mean, this is the death of Ubisoft now. I mean, everything. Yeah, soy boy face, pot belly, pink hat. Yeah, Totoro t-shirt. Creeper. Total creeper. Most disturbingly, Francois is also facing an attempted assault charge after reportedly trying to forcefully kiss an employee during a Christmas party. Oh, no. You introduce alcohol into it as well. While colleagues held her down. Oh my God. Oh, man. Smash says, this sounds like a skit gone wrong from the show The Office. I don't know, man. This sounds like the kind of thing that when you picture it in your mind, it's all grainy and black and white. Things that don't... Like Peter Griffin's flashbacks of his prostate exam. You know what I'm talking about. Things that don't actually happen IRL allegedly were happening. It's funny. Smash JT writes like he talks. It's good. The toxic culture didn't stop with Francois, though. Haskell, who held immense power within the walls of Ubisoft, stands accused of making naughty and inappropriate remarks and racist comments. Of course he did. Of course he did. Why not? Why stop at sexual assault when you can also be racist too? Yeah.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
God damn, man. God damn. Jesus. Why is this? It's the French, isn't it? They're always weird like this. Although this guy's clearly Canadian, not, you know, well, if he's not, I mean, he has a French name anyway. And it's a French company. So one example, as cited in the investigative report, involved him asking a Muslim employee after the 2015 terrorist attacks, oh yeah, back in France, of course, if she subscribed to the ideology of the Islamic State. I mean, where do I sit on that one? Like, you can't just lump everybody in together. You can't. You really can't do that. However, I mean, you know what? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It's almost, yeah, that's some of you are saying it's a legitimate question. Well, it's not our fault. I mean, that one, it depends really, doesn't it? Because we don't know who the employee is. We haven't got to look at them. We don't know. You know what I mean? And it's starting to, it sounds like, yeah, it's a woman. It's a woman too. So, dear oh dear. He also allegedly subjected her to Islamophobic harassment. So this is a problem that, like, I have with this, is that there's no smoke without fire, and this particular religious group have done themselves no favors. You know, no favors whatsoever. Like, out of all of the biggest, most horrible, sudden, unpredicted terror attacks in the last, Jesus, getting on for 30 years now, how many of them were, you know, perpetrated by these types of people? Damn near all of them. So, as much as this guy is a piece of shit, make no mistake about that. You know, these people tend to find, I mean, I know the French fucking hate Islam. I know this because well, I'm British. I've been to France a few times, but also I used to live in a different part of this country, and when I did, I lived in a particular area in 2023, which was pretty much all the businesses were pretty much bars and restaurants, and they were pretty much all dominated by the French. They were a decent group, but yeah, they were boorish, rude, and racist pretty much all the time, particularly against Muslims. So there you go. And it's bizarre as well. Some really, really bizarre treatment of women as well that went on, and interesting stuff. But you know, they were like my friends, so I didn't know what to think. but whatever. Anyway, then he did things like changing her computer wallpaper to images of bacon sandwiches. Motherfucker. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but you know, when you just told me he tied a woman to a chair and forced a kiss on someone while she was held down, and now you're telling me that he's just putting bacon sandwiches on a person. Okay, it's not appropriate. It's not appropriate at all, but still, yeah, you know, I mean, it's two assholes, two groups of assholes, you know, that is probably crossing the line. Placing food on her desk during Ramadan, that's not nice. That's not nice. Those fucking poor bastards. The shit they have to go through Ramadan when they just cannot eat until the sun goes down. I used to work in a sales office, and there were a couple of Muslims there, and man, they just looked like they were dying at their desks. Poor bastards. They sorted it out later, though. They didn't ate a huge feast for dinner, and it sounds crazy. It is crazy, but hey, it's their culture, I suppose. If they want to do that to themselves, then I guess it's no different than Lent, depending on how much of a, you know, zealot you are. The guy sounds like a dick, to be honest. Yeah, he is definitely a dick. But again, there's no smoke without fire. It's like, who's worse? The one who belongs to a religion that has perpetuated more violence and death than any other in recent memory, or the guy who, teases and baits and bullies them. I mean, okay, the individual person probably in all likelihood did not deserve that kind of treatment. But again, if you're gonna have that religion, you're gonna follow the dogma, and you're gonna take that into your workplace. I don't know. Everybody's wrong. Everybody's wrong. But it is what it is, I suppose. Oh well. Anyway, the third defendant, Patro, a former game director, also faces charges of moral harassment, pounding out what appears, at least on the surface here, to be a deeply entrenched pattern of workplace abuse. Yikes. The real horror of this case isn't just the actions of a few men, but more so Ubisoft's complete failure to stop any of it from happening. According to the investigation, dozens of witnesses were heard, yet many declined to file complaints, fearing retaliation from the gaming industry. Yeah, that's where it gets very, very sinister. You can't speak out. Your job depends on you keeping your head down, so to speak, and impressing the bosses who are punching down at you all the time. I don't want to sound like an SJW when I say shit like that, but there are certain, you just don't treat your employees like that. You're supposed to, I'm not for stakeholder capitalism either. I don't think employees should come over the customers, but they are also human beings, and you can't really treat people like that, especially when they work for you. And to foster an environment wherein none of them actually feel like they can say anything, stuff, there you go, you see. And White Joe says that it's not cool to justify, to paint everyone with the same brush. Yeah, you're right. I know. I'm just saying it goes on, is what I'm saying. I'm not necessarily agreeing. That's why I said everybody's wrong. This fact doesn't surprise me at all. In fact, the way the game industry has been built upon blackballing anyone who doesn't adhere to the cult almost encourages this type of silent atmosphere. Yeah, I mean, there's no one really on the employee level who actually believes that social justice and wokeness and all that stuff is actually good. It's all just the people, the ones who go to GDC, the ones who dye their hair, the social justice warriors, obviously. So the common thread among these testimonies, Ubisoft's human resources department knew about all of it and did nothing. And it's funny because all that wokeness crap comes straight out of the HR department. This is why we say virtue signaling, because that is all it is. It's putting on a big sign above your head that says virtuous person, do not come at me for no matter what I might do, because I am virtuous. I think that DEI is good. I am virtuous. Pay no attention to the woman tied to her chair. Pay no attention to the CCTV footage of someone being held down while X person forces her to kiss them. We are virtuous. Damn, man. This is the end of this company, I swear. They've got nothing. They got nothing. They got no successful games in the last 12 months at all. They've got hardly any money. The stock price is plummeting. The next game they release is already a laughing stock. It will not do as well as the others have. There is no, justification for any of this. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Play nice in the chat, by the way, guys. Have your debate. I don't mind, but play nice. As the report states, HR demonstrated inertia despite being repeatedly alerted to misconduct. Yeah. This is, the guys who pay my salary want to bully other employees. At least they're not bullying me. Ha ha ha. Now, quickly put out a pamphlet about DEI so that everyone knows how great we are. No. No, 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 no. You can't do this stuff. This aligns with what industry watchdogs and employee advocates have long accused gaming companies of, turning a blind eye to toxic behaviors so long as the perpetrators hold enough power. Again, not surprising in the current environment. Yeah. I mean, this is just a microcosm of Hollywood, really, isn't it? You just don't usually get to hear about it because Hollywood are apparently much better than Ubisoft at covering their asses when it comes to avoiding, you know, being ratted out or exposed for the shit things that they do to their employees. This is bleak. Anyway, the Solidaire Informatique Union, which I suppose is Solidarity in Information or something, or informative, I don't fucking know, which spearheaded the first legal complaints in 2021, denounced, quote, the workings of a system which manipulates, exhausts, and crushes the company's workers. This is way worse than just some crunch. This is crunch and humiliation and degradation and assault. Shit. One of the 9 plaintiffs back then, represented by attorney Benjamin Bobot, detailed multiple humiliating acts and remarks which caused significant psychological repercussions. Yeah, you see, stuff like this. This is what the whole Me Too thing is supposed to be about. Fighting this. It is. That's what it's for. So if you're like, you know, then they massively overcorrected. They went after everybody. They assumed the worst about everybody and went after them. When what they really needed to be doing was turning that fucking gun inwards, or the flashlight or whatever, and you know, taking the battle to the home ground. Anyway, there we go. Reading into this situation further was pretty to be honest. Now we're at the 1 hour mark, so there's now overlap. I appreciate the guys who do stay. Thank you. Despite the overwhelming testimonies, Hasque continues to deny any wrongdoing. His lawyer, Jean-Guillaume Le Minchier, released a statement claiming he categorically denies having harassed a single one of his colleagues. But you're being investigated for criminal acts like for 5 years. If there was nothing to find, they would have stopped 4 years ago, at least. And that he was unaware of any inappropriate acts committed by other Ubisoft employees, which is odd. If HR knew about all this, it was documented. Holy shit. Documented? Nothing. The plaintiff's attorneys reject this defense outright. Quote, from the moment it is something anchored in the company and the managers do not intervene to stop it, it is systemic to the company. So that's a very potentially woke statement, but in this case, it does appear to be the case. The people who make the company what it is are the ones perpetuating this. Thus, it is the workplace culture of Ubisoft, not just a few individuals. This is one of those very few occasions where the word systemic actually applies, in my opinion. But it does apply. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Hello, Dramatica Law. This is a pretty dark story, Dramatica Law. Anyway, so yeah, so it is systemic to the company because, again, yeah, it's the higher-ups that are doing it. Another lawyer representing the Solidaires Informatique Union didn't mince words either. Says, I have seen several cases of moral or harassment, and I have never seen such a desire to humiliate. Damn, man. That's fucked. So cook their charcoal. That's right. Spamalot's right. Damn, man. Damn, buddy. Damn. Ubisoft, what in the fucking world are you doing? Nonsense. The case here is just the latest in an extremely long line of scandals that have exposed the gross underbelly of the gaming industry's rampant issues with workplace misconduct. Ubisoft has already suffered significant reputational damage from the 2020 revelations, but they're busy grafting George Floyd's fucking face onto a samurai. Meanwhile, they're being taken out from within with literal Me Too's. And apparently very justified Me Too's as well. Fucking hell. But this trial, whoa, god damn it. But this trial happening now will only serve as a definitive test of whether justice will truly be served or if the industry will continue to shield its abusers. Well, I mean, the serious thing is you've got to get rid of these bastards. You've got to get rid of these perverts. You've got to get rid of these monsters. It's because of people like them, the rest of us have been fucking under the boot of DEI and wokeness for half a decade, more than half a decade, closer to a decade at this point. It's because of dickheads like Harvey Weinstein and these clowns that the rest of us have been held to this ridiculous standard that no one can stand up to because of the overcorrection. The fact that it's Ubisoft, the arbiter of truth in DEI, being the one facing this situation, yeah, it's a bit juicy, isn't it? Once again goes to show everyone that the companies pushing DEI the hardest have the most skeletons to hide. Exactly. It is 100%. 100% what I've been saying for pretty much as long as any of this has been going on, years before I ever had a channel. Years before. Since about 2016 onwards. So there you go. Oh, dude. Some of these are really bleak as well. Like tying a woman to a chair and pushing her into an elevator and sending her to the wrong floor. Calling them bitch, ugly, slut. Like, don't get me wrong. I say worse things about Mercante, but Mercante deserves them. Doing a handstand, getting someone to do a handstand in a skirt in an open office. I mean, what do you think? You know, like, it's chaos. It's crazy. What's that, James Up? After 8? I don't understand. In another, he allegedly tied an employee to a chair, placed her in an elevator, and sent her to another floor. It's more than fraternity hazing. I wouldn't even. Okay, I guess it is kind of like fraternity hazing, but it's usually that's men to men. Yeah, I know Hypno's on. Yeah, I know. I had to start today at this time because I couldn't get to sleep before it, so we'll just have to go along with that. If that's fine. If that's happening today, tomorrow I'll be on an hour earlier because I have to. I have to do that, but today it was just a little too hard because I had a late night and the baby wouldn't go to sleep, and I just could not get that little sleep. But hey, if you guys want to go over to Hypnocast, that's fine. I understand. I'll be back later streaming, but for now, anyway, I'm going to carry on because there's a few more things I want to get to. One of which is the situation with Monster Hunter Wilds and Veilguard, and the fact that the Gamer put out an article coping and seething about the fact that Monster Hunter Wilds succeeds. Yeah, you just let me know. Thank you. That's fine. Don't worry. I'm well aware. It's fine. I made that deal with myself when I decided to do the show at this time because I had to. Yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds, it's a big success. And the Gamer put out an article recently absolutely coping over the fact that no one was playing Dragon Age Veilguard, and yet they all went to play Monster Hunter Wilds. And I'm going to try and pull up the article actually first, because I have got a video I want to look at from Endymion. but I want to just have a look at the article first because it is purest cope. Why isn't Monster Hunter Wilds flopping like Dragon Age the Veilguard? Because it's actually good. That would be the obvious answer, isn't it? I mean, Monster Hunter Wilds may have its issues on certain PC builds, but the overwhelming consensus is that it's really fun, true to its, mostly, slightly dumbed down, but true to its series archetypes. And Dragon Age the Veilguard was Tranoid Simulator 2024. So I mean, this is pathetic. This is like something a child says. Why can't I have one? Jeffrey has one. Because you haven't done your chores. You know, it's bizarre to see journalists act this way. So yeah, the most approachable entry in the franchise yet may have lost. Wait. Monster Hunter Wilds is the latest entry in a long-running for RPG series. Dragon Age the Veilguard is the latest entry in a long-running JRPG series or RPG series. It's the most approachable entry in the franchise yet. Dragon Age Veilguard. It's the most approachable entry in the franchise yet. So you've just copied the sentence. First of all, okay, that's a lie. Okay, that is where you have fundamentally misunderstood this. Andrew King. Andrew Wan King. That's not actually his name, I'm sure, but that's the one I went with. The most approachable entry in the franchise yet. No, it's not. How can you call Dragon Age the Veilguard the most approachable entry in the Dragon Age franchise? This game is literally pushing propaganda for an agenda that 99% of planet Earth wants nothing to do with. Principally, that's what it's doing, above telling a story in a fantasy universe. That's why it's not remotely approachable. No one wants to approach. No one wants to get the Tranoid lurgy. So, moving on to the next sentence for Monster Hunter, it may have lost some of its identity in the process of sanding down some of its more unique features, but the developers have made that sacrifice in hopes of reaching a bigger audience. And yet again, exactly the same sentence for Dragon Age Veilguard. That is some fucking bias right there. This is literally narrative construction being done in the most transparently obvious way I've ever seen. If you want to phrase it that way, yeah. But that is not the case. Dragon Age Veilguard is the latest entry in a long-running RPG series, though you would barely know it. It's the least approachable entry in the franchise. And it's lost its identity entirely in the process of sanding down, axing some of its more unique features in favor of an insane agenda that no one can get on board with. Well, no one in their right mind anyway. So, yeah, approachability for me, but not for thee. 8 million copies for Monster Hunter Wilds, 1 million for Veilguard. Okay. I mean, they're night and day. They're oil and water. They're like black and white different. This makes no sense at all. Anyway, Endymion's done a video about it, so we're going to have a look at that because I want to see what he has to say. So let's get watching.
Monster Hunter Wilds has now entered the part of its life cycle where its success is so foreign to Western games journalists. They're now attempting to decipher how could a game like this sell as much as it did without being anything like a Western game in terms of its story design.
That's a good point, James Up. Yeah, Dragon Age Veilguard never actually sold 1 million copies. It had 1 million players. A lot of whom were using, subscription services and other reasons for having the game in the first place.
And more. These journalists, as I'll show you, are perplexed as if they've been tasked with deciphering the Da Vinci Code when in reality, the answer is simple, but these types are unwilling to say the quiet parts out loud. This brings me to this article from thegamer.com, which is hilariously titled, "Why Isn't Monster Hunter Wilds Flopping Like Dragon Age the Veilguard?" Oh boy, how much time do you got? Because this might take a second. Yeah, that title straight
It only took me about a minute.
up reads like a parody to anybody who's been keeping up with this sort of stuff for a while now. How could a game about monster hunting be selling so well when this other game that rejected its identity and ruined itself did so poorly in comparison?
Right, exactly. It rejected its identity. It's not sanded it down a little bit. It has axed bits of itself off, much like a Tranoid.
Harrison. It's so perplexing, isn't it, the gamer.com? Well, let me spell it out for you. But
Yeah, thegamer.com. They're on some kind of ridiculous crusade to replace Kotaku and Polygon. I don't know what the hell they think they're doing, but it's not going to work.
let's also go through this article and others. They start off the article by saying Monster Hunter Wilds is the latest entry in a long-running RPG series. It's the most approachable entry in the franchise yet. It may have lost some of its identity in the process of sanding down some of its more unique features, but the developers made that sacrifice in hopes of reaching a bigger audience. They then followed this up with another paragraph about Veilguard, which, as you can see on screen, they just copy and pasted the same paragraph I just read, but
yeah, it is exactly the same. Yeah,
they replaced Wilds with Veilguard.
But again, that is the narrative being constructed right there. You've chosen to use a linguistic device in order to falsely portray what Veilguard is. And as long as that is your working definition of Dragon Age the Veilguard, you're always going to be wrong because you fundamentally misunderstood what Veilguard actually is.
And they are right here. Credit where it's due. Both games do from the outset are technically in a similar camp. Both Wilds and Veilguard were games in long-running franchises that looked to simplify their mechanics to attract new players. This is 100% true, but there's a caveat here that is clearly not being addressed anywhere in this article. Look, I beat both of these games. Well, in Wild's case, I beat the main story and I'm in the post-story now. But in Veilguard's case, the game starts off...
Wow, already? Man, some people have loads of time to play games. Lucky bastards. Although, you know, I have a loving family and some kids, so I'm pretty happy about that. By the way, I will be wrapping up about an hour and a half today because I know a lot of you want to get over to Hypnocast, and that's absolutely fine. It's my situation that led to me having to stream later today, so there we go.
Off with very, very basic RPG mechanics that, let's be real, even a child could understand. There is nothing left to think about. Even the armor customization is simplified to such a degree that you at times feel more like a toddler that is putting shapes into similar shape-size holes than an adult who's playing a rated M for mature video game. The problem with Veilguard's mechanics, however, are that they never actually evolve from, say, hour 1 versus hour 50. What you see is quite literally what you're going to get with Veilguard. Besides some basic levels of customization that, like I said, are very simple at best, generally speaking, you just fight, level up, pick a skill on the big skill tree. That's
yeah.
like
I
Final
mean,
Fantasy.
obviously, it's more or less that's it. Yeah, that's how it works.
Your grade, sort of, but not as interesting, and then that's sort of it. You also can't even control your teammates either. Their abilities are just mapped to each button press.
Yeah, I never really like that. Whenever that happens in games, it is a gross oversimplification.
And they aren't even able to fall in combat either. Sure, Veilguard was clearly trying to be more like Mass Effect in this way. However, even in Mass Effect's case, you would have to keep tabs on your allies because they could fall in combat and then you would need to revive them and such. And
there it is.
You would know what I'm talking about. But in Veilguard, everything is so automated. None of this matters compared to previous games. There's no party management needed here. Just keep your Rook character alive and then your
Yeah, I mean, it's trying to be God of War in its actual gameplay. Which is funny because the way that the Gamer article phrased it was that basically it might have lost a little of its identity sanding down. But no, it completely changed the combat. It completely changed everything. And once again, to own David Jaffe one more time, why the fuck not? When he tried to say it was no different than, say, having black characters in it or whatever, and you can opt out of the trans stuff. No, you can't. Yes, you can choose not to be trans. You can choose to play as a man or a woman with the very limited body types that they have. But at the end of the day, you still have to go through the story, which goes on and on and on ad nauseum about being trans. So, no, you can't.
Will kind of just exist as just background noise that you once in a while will tell to do something. In Wild's case, it's the exact opposite. What you see and get from the first hour is nothing like hour 30 or 50. Sure, the game starts off simple. You save some kid that's crying on a not chocobo creature from some sand monsters.
Yeah,
and then you
I thought that as well. It's not quite chocobo.
Then given the choice to pick your starter weapon. You're given the basic gist of whatever weapon you've chosen, but it's very surface level. You don't really need to know the mechanics much to survive the next fight against the big fat frog guy you're about to fight because he's easy, obviously. It's the beginning
ripped off the dongo
of the game. But as you play, you start to learn that, oh wow, this weapon that I chose, which I usually use the switch axe, longsword, or charge blade, as you're likely seeing from all the footage of me playing this game here on screen, and then these weapons and many, many more, they can all alter and change and do weird things that you weren't really told about right away. For an example, right, take the longsword, probably one of the more simple weapons on the surface, but it's still deadly and very effective at just reducing everything around you to nothingness. You likely start by mashing
Strange.
triangle. Then you realize when you hit R2, you get a new combo set. But then you realize as you attack with R2, it eventually turns your yellow blade icon in the left here into a red blade. This means now that your longsword has entered super freak mode and it's ready to get nasty. Now you're doing
Super freak mode.
all
Okay.
kinds of new moves. And you're slicing up dudes like your Virgil from Devil May Cry or Puss in Boots in the modern classic, Puss in Boots
That
The
doesn't
Last
look like
Wish.
Virgil
By the
that
way,
I
that's a
remember.
great movie. Death is so cool in that. Anyway, then you'll find out if you hit R2 and triangle, that you can now dash and stab a monster and then fly up into the air and come crashing down.
Right,
on
so
them.
you
But
get
then
a
if you
lot
hit
of
another button, then you
versatility
turn
there,
into
yeah.
Sephiroth and slice and dice the monster like crazy. There's more attacks, sure. Like you can put your sword in your sheath and then shoot it
Oh,
out.
look
and
at
all those
that.
kinds
Look
of
at
things,
him
but you
just talking like for 2 straight minutes about like the gameplay of this game. How amazing.
get the point, which is that this is one of 14 weapons that are available in Wilds. This doesn't even cover the different effects or the elements or anything else these weapons can have. Meaning, depending on the monster you're facing, you're going to choose a different weapon to fight them. You're going to face some kind of ice-type monster,
Yeah, I
maybe.
hate
Probably a
that.
good idea to have fire on your weapon. The charge blade, for example, as the name implies, you can charge it up, and then you can switch the weapon into this crazy axe form. That
Clearly passionate about this game. Clearly very, very passionate about it. I still haven't played it yet. I'll get around to it when I'm done with tweaking it.
incorporates the shield into the sword that you were just using. It's super badass looking. And now you can do these big elemental damage sweeping smash attacks and kill beasts even faster. The point I'm making here
This sounds like the kind of conversations you actually have about video games, guys. You know, when you like those games, you want to talk about. You get that vibe? Yeah, Hook, you get the vibe. I think he likes it.
is at the depths of Monster Hunter in general, yes, it starts off very easy and simple on the surface by design. But like a good lasagna, there's plenty to find under the first or even second layer as you bite into it. This means that the game never actually gets stale technically, because unless you have become God with all the weapons and somehow mastered them all and carved enough beasties to start your own butcher shop, you're never really done with these sorts of games.
Sounds great.
Backflipping over to Veilguard, what you see is quite literally what you're going to get.
The whole
weapon
game.
combos never really expand past what you get a few hours in versus the end of the game. You kind of
it's
just
just
keep doing
shallow.
the same combos the same way with no real variety besides your other weapon, which is tied to your class and can't be changed, which is also not into depth, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
So while
and
yes,
since
both
they
games
made
are
it much
indeed
more
simple on the
action-oriented,
surface,
this is not good.
Veilguard is more so as wide as a lake and as deep as a puddle, whereas Wilds is as wide as an ocean and as deep as the Mariana Trench's depths. I haven't
Oof.
even brought up all the different ammo types or the traps and how those work.
Some of
with
these
bombs,
monsters
or
are
you can use
fucking
meat to
freaky
lure
looking.
monsters. Not to mention using the environment to just absolutely skull crush your beastie foes. Like, look at this dude. I'm fighting this big ass ice dragon, which is already really
What
cool.
the
But then look
fuck?
at what I can do here. I'm pulling down debris onto the head of this thing and then drowning it in
Yeah,
industrial
this is
metal. It's so
awesome.
badass. And no, you can't do anything like that in Veilguard, and that's the point. This kind of brings me to compare even Wild with another newish game in the form of Avowed. People can
It's pathetic, isn't it? Night and day. It's actually baffling that they even like tried to write that article. How do you compare these things? They're apples and oranges. They're rotten apples with maggots infesting them, and fresh oranges, bountiful with lovely orange juice. I don't understand the brain mechanics that led to that article being written. It's like someone said, right, you're gonna have to write something about Monster Hunter Wilds, and the guy's like, oh fuck, I'm so tired of that game doing well while my sacred cow Veilguard failed miserably. Okay, I know what I'll do. I'll write this coping, seething piece of trash like a fucking preteen tantrum and call it journalism. While, you know, you just listen to Endymion talk for a couple of minutes about the mechanics of Monster Hunter Wilds, and it is absolutely clear you're having a fucking blast with this video game. And that is the end of the day, the experience. The experience matters. The experience is different. One of these games is boring to play and tries to push your face into a world of Tranoid ideology, while the other game says, hey, have some fun. Here's some kick-ass mechanics that constantly expand and give you new ways to play. One is a game, the other is a lecture. They are not the same. To even imply that they are the same is ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Completely stupid. Anyway, guys, I am going to wrap it up there. I wanted to spend a bit more time watching this video, but as has become clear, you guys have got somewhere else to be. And I'm the one who had to change my schedule last minute. So we'll wrap it up today. But thank you very much to James Opp for the kind donations, guaranteeing some more Suikoden later today. in just a few hours' time. So keep an eye out for that, and I will try to fulfill as soon as I can. And of course, later than that, in about 11 and a half hours' time, we've got WTF Live. So look out for that. And in you go. And we can go right ahead. Yeah, I suppose we could raid Hypno, couldn't we? Hang on. Let's see now. Let's see. I haven't done a raid before because I'm usually like, you know, the one getting raided. Hold on. Let's see what I can do. It's probably still on his intros anyway. Okay. Just on the money shot. There you go, guys. And link in chat.
Like the stream, boys.
Rift Force raid.
Nobody listens, I swear. All right, guys. We got a lot to talk about today.
There we go.
All right, we got a lot of topics lined up today. We got some video reactions we're going to go over. I want to go over Sungram.
I'm going to get out of here, guys. Enjoy yourselves. Shout Rift Force raid as you get into
going
it.
Over
and I'll be
Lost
back.
Records Bloom and Rage, which is that extremely woke-looking video game.
Take care.
And